Osmosis, a three-pointer, looking to continue a career day, and she knocks it down.
Gets the fast break layup and one.
From the studios of 95.7 The Spin.
Who lays it up and in through the contact of Baylor. What a finish from Emma Delhart. Wasn't even looking at the basket when she threw it up.
Back-to-back three-pointers off back-to-back possessions for the Screaming Eagles.
It's the Stein Show with USI women's basketball head coach Rick Stein.
Lays it up and in, Addie Blackwell, and one.
Welcome to another edition of The Stein Show. 95.7 The Spin presents The Coaches Show with USI head women's basketball coach Rick Stein. USI only had one game over the past break, and they came up victorious, beating the McKendree Bearcats by a wide margin. It was defense and offense joining together, and USI stays undefeated. But there's no place like home. All 5 of their wins have come from Screaming Eagles Arena. We're going to sit down with Coach Stein to talk about all 5 of those wins, the win against McKendree, and how he's going to favor on the road against all GLBC teams. I'm going to talk to Coach Stein right away, and we're going to have the Stein Show now. Welcome, Coach Stein. It was a great weekend beating McKendree. It was a long break, though. You had Lewis on a Saturday, and then the next Saturday it was McKendree. Came out victorious, 73-48 against the Bearcats. Really, what did you like overall in that game?
You know, what you just said about the week is really right because, a long break in there. We had played 4 games in 8 or 9 days, and all of a sudden we had kind of a break. But one of the things we didn't have a break from was that classroom, and we talked about this last week. I was, a little worried about how an end of the week game, with finals being a long stretch during the week would go, and I thought we had a couple good practices. Even though we were shortened and didn't have as much time to practice. And even though, we knew that their minds going to be, in a lot of different places because of their finals and final projects and all the above. We went into Saturday, and I thought our Friday workout was really good. Everybody was done with finals. Our Saturday morning shoot was really good. And I was pumped up and ready to go, and I thought our team was, and then McKendree came in and smacked us in the face. They got off to a great start. I think it was 11-2. I think I threw a timeout in there at 7 or 9-2 or whatever it was, and I just thought that I knew they would. McKendree came in with a lot of energy. They came in with a lot of intensity, a lot of fight in them, and we looked like we didn't look like we did a shoot around the day before practice for sure, but really proud of how we handled ourselves coming out of that timeout and how the game changed for us and just our intensity level and obviously it turned out to be a good W at the end of the day.
Now, what are some things you feel like your team can improve on as the season goes on after watching the McKendree USI game?
Well, I mean, you can look at stat sheets and different things. I just think we're getting better daily. I don't think we've peaked anywhere. I certainly think that this basketball team can use time this week and is definitely this week and maybe that week we come back from Christmas to try to improve. Nathaniel, there's very few real practices left in the season. It's weird to say that, but when you get into January, February, and into March, hopefully you're deep into March, there's 2 games a week, sometimes 3 games a week. That first week of January, we play the 3rd, the 5th, the 7th, or whatever it is. And, I mean, you were slammed 1 week, and you play, basically 3 games in 6 days, I think is what it is, or 7 days, whatever it is. But, there's very little time to find ways to get better because you're just prepping and getting ready to hopefully beat the next team and what it takes to do that. So, last week we didn't have a lot of time to get better, even though I thought we did a little bit and I thought we improved. I think this week's really important as we have a week of practice before we play, at Indy on Sunday. But there's so many ways this basketball team can continue to improve and too numerous to probably mention, obviously on both ends of the court. I think, we've talked about some good things that we're doing, but I think this team's got a lot of growth yet. And we're only 5 games in. I think each game we've gotten a little bit better, and that's been fun to see, and that's what you want, improvement as we go throughout the season.
Your team shot very well against McKendree. I want to say it was up over 50% from the field. Really, absolutely great shooting night. One of the best shooting nights you've had this far into the season.
Yeah.
Really, what helped the percentage go up?
Well, I thought our execution was pretty good. We were getting good shots, and you know they were trying to squeeze us down a little bit, squeeze us into the paint. You know, we saw a little double down on our post. They had a different defensive play call that we hadn't heard yet, and it was I think it was just for us to set up to try to squeeze our bigs and double down a little bit. But I thought our execution was pretty good. We handled their pressure you know, pretty well, especially in that full court. You know, that was one of the things you and I talked about last week was, you know, they were turning teams over, and that was helping them to have some success. And obviously, you know, turnovers are something, you know, you and I have talked about quite a bit. We want to limit them. You know, we had too many early again in the game, and it wasn't on the full court, but it fueled their fire and certainly didn't give us a chance to get shots and or defend. And as the game wore on, I thought we took care of the ball a whole heck of a lot better. And you know, obviously total team effort that way. Yeah, you know, our execution was good, and we got the ball where we wanted to. And when you do that, you have a chance to make shots and knock down some plays. You know, our play in the paint was good. We scored 30 points in the paint, you know, of our 73. Our bench was great again, 18 to 3. We won. You know, we outscored McKendree's bench 18-3. You know, that just shows our depth and you know quality minutes that everybody's giving us. And of course, you know, everybody plays in the game except for Addie, obviously because of her ankle injury. But you know, certainly proud of our whole bunch and how we came together. Got a good home win.
And again, the defense was phenomenal. Held another team under that 55-point, I guess you would say, plateau this season. Really, what do you have to say about your defensive performance against McKendree?
Well, you know, at the end of that first few minutes, I didn't think we were going to stop anybody. You know, again, they went for 11 quick points. I don't even think we were a couple minutes into the game, and they already had 11. And you know, went for 17 in that first quarter. But again, the second half of the first quarter, I thought we really started we did a better job of taking care of the ball and running good offense, and we did a better job of then getting into defense and getting some stops. You know, that second quarter, they go for 8. The fourth quarter, they go for 8. You know, when you're holding teams, you know, in a single digit in quarters, that means you're doing some good things. You know, you and I talked last week about, you know, one of the things that McKendree was known for was, you know, how many free throws they had shot, getting to that free throw line, and really they had doubled up their opponents in free throws attempted, and you know, they shoot 7 on Saturday, and we make 8, you know, so we make more than they shoot. Obviously there wasn't a lot shot in the game, but at the same time, that was a team that came in shooting a lot of free throws, and so that means we defended without fouling, we defended without bailing them out, and that was one of the things on our scout sheet was, you can't bail them out the basket. Make them make tough shots. Make them shoot over the top and make plays. And I think we did a pretty good job of that, and obviously limited their free throw attempts. And because of it, obviously that held their number under 50.
And another statistic that I guarantee you're very excited about is forcing the turnovers. 24 turnovers forced, but it's the points that come after that's important. After those turnovers, you score 24 points off of them. Really, what's the reasoning for all the forced turnovers? Is it the press that you're excited about? Is it the defensive end with the zone? Really, what is the cause for forcing turnovers?
Yeah, you know, one of the things that, you know, we'd like to do is, no matter what defense we're in, is stay in pressure. You know, just always have some kind of ball pressure going, and I think, you know, that those things lead to deflections and it leads to you know, turnovers or steals and things going the other direction. You know, I think we've done a pretty good job of mixing up our defenses and you know, changing up on teams. You know, we've thrown in, you know, different defenses on makes, different ones on misses, different ones on made free throws. And so when you do that, you keep people guessing a little bit, and you keep them seeing some different weapons. And I think they're all really weapons for us. That's the way you know, you like to look at it. We want to keep the other team uncomfortable at all times. And I thought, other than the first couple minutes when when we were really on our heels and McKendree had us uncomfortable, I thought for the most part after that, I thought we had them uncomfortable in some situations that they just didn't want to be in on their offensive end. You got to credit our defense and our intensity that way. And you know, obviously, again, to hold somebody under 50 points. Our goal is 60. You know, we want to hold teams under 60. If we can hold teams under 60, I think we got a chance to win every night. If we hold teams under 50, I think we definitely have a chance to win. And we showed that on Saturday.
Now, this is just a question that I just come up with because I've seen your team play on the defensive end all season long, and I'm curious about the zone defense you put out. Could you don't have to get in depth with it, but could you describe a little bit about that zone defense your team plays?
Yeah, again, it's, you know, one of the things, a lot of people play zones differently. You know, a lot of people play just, you know, traditional type zones. And this one, the reason I like it is because we keep pressure on the basketball. You know, even, you know, wherever the ball is, that we want to make sure that there's pressure on it. And then it gives us a chance to, you know, put some heat on that offensive team and again, make them make some decisions maybe they don't want to make. You know, some people will play it a little bit more packed in, a little bit more, you know, 5 players, you know, defend paint, and we just don't do it that way. And not that we, you know, you can't do it with that zone, but it's, you know, right now I like to keep ball pressure on, and it's so much of the communication is so important defensively anyway. You know, that's one skill that we work on every single day is communication. And in that zone, you really got to talk because we're bumping off players on wings. You know, we're certainly trying to make sure that we take away strength areas. You know, a lot of times you know, against the zone, what do you want to do? You want to utilize the high post, okay, or utilize a baseline or a short corner. And in this zone, I think we can still take those things away with the ball pressure we have and being you know, with high hands. So again, you know, it's something that this is a zone we put in a couple of years ago, and we've always had some sort of zone. I mean, there's no, you know, you're always going to have some sort of zone, but this one we put in a couple of years ago, and I think even as our players have been in the system a few years, have run a little bit, you know, they've gotten to understand it. And here's the thing I like about it, it's just so different than our man-to-man, and it's similar but different. But you know, because our man-to-man is pressure in passing lanes, we're taking away the next pass. And so we can really mix on teams and hopefully keep them uncomfortable. I mean, we're trying to keep people uncomfortable and keep pressure on them and keep them out of comfort zone for sure.
I've always watched the defense. I was always confused because I would be on air. I would say they're in a man-to-man, and then out of nowhere you'd fall back in a zone, and I was like, okay, well, out of nowhere, let's just switch defenses. But I was always wanting to know why it was set up, and I'm glad you answered that question for me.
You know, and I'll say this too, Nate. You know, when you're coming down the court, it's hard to recognize what exactly the zone is. Is it a 1-3-1? Is it a 1-1-3? Is it a 2-3? Is it, because it kind of looks different each time you come down the floor, and a lot of that's just based on, you know, on making sure we have somebody on the basketball, and so it's, you know, it can fool you a little bit and keep you off balance. And you know, you know, one of the things about McKendree was they were running cutters in from everywhere. They were running a 5-out offense, and they were cutting people in and out. And they really challenged us to communicate because there was people keep coming in and out of there. And I thought we did a really good job. I thought we had a good scout, and we know what were their strengths, and you know, trying to take, you know, away different things. Obviously, you know, the scout part of it is real. We spend a lot of time on that and trying to get those, you know, those little things that can help you win game. And I thought we had a good one, and obviously helped us win the game.
And a specific player that really helped out was Emma Delhart, the senior, put up a career-high 28 points. Could you talk a little bit about her impact and how she played against McKendree?
Yeah, you know, Emma's just off to a great start. I mean, she's doing so many things. I mean, you look at a stat sheet, you know, she's filled it up across the line. But again, you know, we've talked enough to say, you know, it's not all about numbers for her either, even though those are really important. You know, she's making big plays at big times, and whether it's, you know, an extra pass, whether it's a charge taken, whether it's a loose ball, she's on the floor. I mean, she was on the floor right in front of our bench, diving on the floor for a loose ball on Saturday. And again, I don't even know what the score was at the time. I think we're up, but is that one she gives up on? Heck no, she's going for it. And I think there was 2 charges. She took 2 charges on Saturday. Again, you can talk about her 28 points and 4 assists and rebounds and a couple steals. There's a lot of good things to talk about with Emma and how she's playing, and super proud of her and her leadership out there and her consistency. She's really consistent. She's bringing it every single day, and of course, I think consistency for our team has been important here so far, and it's got us off to a 5-0 start.
And she's been shooting the ball really, really well. 11 of 19 from the field last night, and really let it go from behind the arc. And it really looks like she's a lot more confident with her shot this season. Would you have to agree with that, or what is your saying about that?
Yeah, one of the things that you and I talked about when we had Emma on, earlier on in the shows here, as a sophomore, I think Emma might have led our team in 3-pointers made and was shooting over 40% from 3. And in this league, you can't hide. The scouting report comes out and they say, man, she can really shoot. And I think she ran into that a little bit last year where they were running her off the line pretty good, and they knew they had to find her. And again, one of the things about Emma is her game has just continued to improve, and she's so much better off the dribble right now than she ever has been. And the way she's finishing in that paint at the basket, where she's making tough shots and with body on her. And I think her strength is a real major factor in a good way that way. She's so strong, and she came in strong, she came in fit, and I think those things just lead to even, helping be a better finisher. And again, you can't guard her in one way right now, because she can beat you in the next way, and she's got counters to that one too. So so many ways that she's helping our basketball team, and obviously off to a great start. It's helping us to be off to a great start too.
With Addie Blackwell injured and could not dress for the game, Sophia Rickers had to step up from coming off the bench and being in that starting 5. She gets her first career start as a Screaming Eagle, but what do you have to say about her performance as a starter against McKendree?
Well, I don't know if you can say enough. You can't. I don't know if there's words for it, because she stepped in and just played outstanding. Obviously, big minutes. She goes for over 32 minutes. One of the things we talked about right away was McKendree was going to come in and pressure us. And we knew it regardless if Addie was playing or not playing, or anybody was playing or not playing. And I thought Sophia really handled, their pressure well. And sooner than later, they got out of it. They just had to get out of it, because we were beating it. And that's a team thing. It's not just a one-player thing, but that ball was getting inbounded to Sophia, most of the time against that pressure, and she was making really good decisions. Obviously, for her, to score 13 points on top of it, an assist, a steal, a couple rebounds, just the numbers were great. But the number that really jumps out is 0 turnovers in her 30-plus minutes, 0. And again, this is a McKendree team that not only pressured in the full court, they ran at 1-2, 1-1, 3-quarter court. They're trying to heat you up in the half court too. They're getting after you. They were running traps at different times. I thought Sophia handled it outstanding, and we talk about flowing into offense and making sure that we're against pressure. Sometimes what you can do is waste time on clock, and we didn't want to waste time. When we beat the pressure, we just wanted to make plays or flow into offense, and I thought she did a really good job of helping us flow into offense, and super proud of her. I mean, obviously, to have that situation, and she was definitely ready to step up to it. And here's the thing, Nathaniel, we started the season without Ashlyn Brown, and she didn't play the first 2 games of the season. And what you can do, you can make excuses or cry over spilled milk. I don't know, or you gotta have players step up, and we've got 12 really good players, and I think we have players step up. Addie was out. Obviously, she had rolled that ankle at the end of that Lewis game, and she was, and Addie's as tough as all get out. She was not ready. She just could not go, and then you we have, like I said, we have 11 other players who are really good, 12 good players, and again, Sophia stepped in, did an outstanding job, and really on both ends of the court. Obviously, we talked about some of her numbers and handling the ball, but the guard play for McKendree is really good. That's what they mostly had was guards. Obviously, that little point guard for number 10 for McKendree Pullman, she's a senior. She's been in the league for 4 years and is a tough kid and has led that team at the point guard spot for now her fourth year. And I thought Sophia did a really good job. Also just when it came to the defensive end, for us too. And we were in zone a lot, but we played a little bit of man out there, and she ended up on her some. But at the same time, great team effort. So step up big time, and I don't. Again, with our basketball team, I don't know if anybody was surprised. You see good plays and good players doing things in practice every day. Sophia was definitely ready for that challenge.
And someone you mentioned, Addie Blackwell, did not get to play against McKendree, had a boot on her left foot. Could you update us on her injury and maybe a projection date of when she could possibly return?
Yeah, it's a good question. She's getting better every day. It's an ankle sprain, and you can look in the books and open up to page 22, and it says, well, this is how long an ankle sprain will take. They're all different. There's high, there's low, there's medium sprains, high sprains, whatever it is. She's healing daily, and from the start of last week to the end of the week, she certainly had gotten a lot better, but not ready to get in there for sure. Last thing you want to do is put somebody in and be detrimental to something else, maybe injure something else. She wasn't ready, and the trainers knew that. She knew that. I knew that, and that was fine. She's in heal mode right now and strength mode, get that thing stronger, and we're going to take it day by day, and hopefully we'll see her back this week sometime. If not, then we'll just kind of have to keep pushing forward.
And now a player I would like to highlight once again, Meredith Raeley. It seems like we've been saying her name on the broadcast so many times. She's a freshman coming in, getting big minutes, had another double-digit scoring performance against McKendree. Really, how would you describe her playing style this far into the season?
Yeah, Meredith she's off to a great start. Obviously, she's and this is one of the things about her. She comes in, she's just over 13 minutes. She gets 10 points, 3 rebounds, an assist, 2 steals. I mean, she's a producer. That's what you like about Raeley is she just doesn't fill minutes. She produces when she's in. Her minutes are generally good, productive minutes and solid minutes, and she's getting better every day. She's just learned so much. I think one of the blessings for her for sure is to have a veteran crew of posts that challenge her every day. With Audrey Turner and Ashlyn Brown and Hannah Hancock and Tara Roby. I mean, and they're all a little bit different too. So she's learning from them as well as they're learning from her. And she's one of those kids that definitely came in with I think a really good basketball IQ and a knowledge of the game and has put that into play. And I think you even saw it coming off the bench. I think she got a couple of quick offensive rebound putbacks, and it just like it fueled her fire, fueled our fire, and certainly is is off to a great start here in her freshman year.
Hannah Hancock kind of had a rough game, I would say. If you looked at the stats, 3 points and a rebound, are you worried about her performance at all, or are you just shaking it off like it's just nothing?
Well, I mean, Hannah's been great. I mean, she's averaging almost a double-double, and I mean, there's it's hard to say, how good she's played here early on, and again, one of the things I just said about Emma, when it comes to the scouting report, Hannah's on the scouting report. They know. I mean, she was an all freshman team last year. She's averaging almost a double-double this year, and she's seeing that. She's seeing attention. One of the things I said about McKendree was they were they had a new defense. They called it 5, and they were doubling down the post, and they were squeezing it down there. And I'm guessing, all our bigs are part of that, and the reason for that, but definitely Hannah and the start she's off to. They're trying to limit her touches and trying to, when she gets a touch, they're trying to really be physical with her and bring extra bodies at her too. So listen, she's her 15.5 minutes on Saturday helped us win the game. A lot of positives in there. A lot of good stuff. It's hard to get a double every night. So no, Hannah's off to a great start, and she's a sophomore. Her best basketball is still coming, and she's off to a heck of a start. She's going to keep on playing better as the year goes on too.
And Ashlyn Brown coming off the bench, she had 8 rebounds, a great number, one really her season high. How glad are you to have her back after she missed the first couple of games?
Well, yeah, obviously, everybody's important. We had, like I said, we had 12 really good players. We want them all there. Ashlyn's a veteran. I keep saying it. We have 3 returning upperclassmen. 3. I mean, that's it. 3. I mean, and Ashlyn's one of them. She's a junior post player for us, and her knowledge of the game and her how she plays, certainly does make a difference having her compared to not having her. Here's the thing, Ashlyn had sprained her ankle earlier in our practice season. It was late October, whatever it was, and into early November. She was out 3 weeks with a sprained ankle, and then she missed another couple weeks. With the quarantine scenario, she was out 5 weeks. Didn't practice, didn't play, and right before the season started. And that's not easy to do. And then you ask her to come in and be ready to go, and she's come back from that 5 weeks basically in such a good way, and every day she's just getting better because she's just getting her legs back under her too, and her rhythm and her timing. She came in this year she came in so fit and so strong and so ready. I just hated it for her, when she sprained that ankle and she had to sit, and all of a sudden it was 2 more weeks. It's like, man, that's 5 weeks. That's a long time, Nathaniel. And as an athlete, you have 5 weeks, where you're not out there in the court doing things. You got to get it back. And again, it's not easy for all. And she's gotten it back fast and throwing her back right out there and she's hit the ground running. And again, Ashlyn's best basketball is going to keep coming. She's just starting to get her rhythm back and her legs under her back, and she's just going to continue to improve as we move forward this week.
Your team's on a 5-game winning streak. It's really a phenomenal start. All the games at home. Really, how proud of you are your team? Man, I can't even say it, but are you proud of your team for the winning streak? It's been a long morning. It's been a long morning, Coach.
You're asking if I'm proud of our team. Absolutely.
Yeah, there we go.
There's so many reasons to be proud of our basketball team, and these student athletes have had a totally different year. These last 10 months for sure have been totally different. We've all been living in a different world, but at the same time, what I'm just talking about from a student athlete standpoint, the differences and things that they're going through and up against, and how those things can affect just your everyday, let alone how you play, let alone how you come together as a basketball team. There's so many things that we haven't been able to do that we generally do as a team because of COVID, and this group has still found ways to grow and come together as a unit and as a team. Not only, I'm not just talking on the court, but off the court. Most importantly, transferring to on the court. We've had practices where we've had 7, and there was no complaints. It wasn't, man, what are we gonna do? It's okay. How can we get better? And that's been our whole focus, is just trying to improve daily. And again, our improvement has helped us to get off to a great start, 5-0, and certainly excited about that for our team. Excited we got a chance to play them, number one. But but again, anytime our team, man, they're competitive. They want to win, and they just don't want to play the games. They play to win the games. That's what we're college athletes, and certainly their competitiveness has shown up here early, and yeah, all we can do is take it one day at a time. We'll look forward to today, tomorrow, the next day, keep getting better, and hopefully it'll lead to more W's. Like you said, all these games have been at home. Now it's time to take the show on the road now, and the road's not easy. At Indy, is up first, and we got to make sure we don't go to Christmas break early. We better make sure we're ready to go. We got to get better every day this week, and going to Indianapolis is not going to be an easy task. We're going to have to be ready to go to try to find one here on the road.
As you mentioned, all 5 of your previous games have been at home, and now you're going to be on the road for the next 4 games or so. But people are really wondering, how will travel work with all the COVID regulations?
Well, certainly will be a little bit different. We're in masks everywhere anyway, except for on the court. We'll be traveling in masks. We'll be social distancing on the road. Hotels experiences will be a little bit different, but we got to be smart and stay that way. We'll be ordering in way more meals than eating out. The mindset to stay out of restaurants and places like that is a definite. The weird thing too is you go to a place like we'll go to Indy, and generally you get a game day shoot around there. It's a 1 o'clock game Indy time, and generally we'd have an 8 a.m. shoot around. You'd get 45 minutes in there. At least you get in their facility, check out the rims, you get a walk through and get some shots up, and there is none of that right now. So our game day will be a little bit different, and we'll show up. With the Pillars right now in the conference, you can't even get to an arena before an hour and a half before. So it's not like, hey, we'll show up 2 hours early and get some extra shots, and you can't do it. It's going to be an hour and a half. 11:30 Indy time. We'll roll in. We'll get out. We'll obviously change and hit the training room, and then we'll try to get to that court as quickly as we can to get some shots up and get ready to go. There's a lot of differences, but at the same time, what we got to do is we got to get ready to compete. It's a basketball game, and there won't be any fans at Indy, just like there weren't in the arena, and so we're going to have to make sure that we bring our own intensity and our own our energy. We got to bring our energy going on this road, and if we can do that, I think that'll certainly help us to keep playing well and hopefully continue to get some W's.
Indianapolis, the next target to keep the streak alive, keep that undefeated streak alive. But really, what are you expecting from the Greyhounds come Sunday?
I've seen them play a little bit because of scouts that they had played Rockhurst, they had played Lewis. So I basically we're watching their opponents more than I was them. But again, whenever you're scouting, you always get a feel for other teams too and what's going on. Indy's sitting 1-3, and they're a couple buckets away from being 3-1. I mean, they've had teams down there, and the ball didn't bounce their way. We've talked about it many times. Is the fine line between being 1-3 and 3-1 in this league, and they play extremely hard. They're going to mix in some zone against us, and even a little bit of pressure. They run a high post series of offenses that becomes really tough to guard, especially if you get spread out. So, most of our scout work will be this week yet. A lot of tape to watch yet this week, but again, it's another East Division opponent. In this, Indy's one of those that we've had many great games with, throughout all our years here, and we know that we're going to have to go in there ready to outwork them and out-team them and out-tough them. And if we can do those things, we'll have a chance to win.
And a specific player on the Indianapolis team, Taylor Drury, the top scorer for Indianapolis, one of the top scorers in the conference. How will you be able to limit her?
Well, just like any good player, we try to limit touches. And again, every team we play is going to have a really good player. I mean, most teams we play have a lot of really good players. She just happens to be leading them in scoring. So obviously, he's definitely one to talk about. But again, our defense is built on team, and that's how we started the show, and we started a lot of shows about our defense, and we got to stop them. It's not about stopping one player, and she's obviously a good one and off to a good start. She's she's making baskets. Every team we played has had somebody who can really make baskets, and she can. And our team defense is going to get challenged again. So mindset here we got to step up to the challenge as a group, and hopefully the mindset won't be any different on the road. We got to hold teams under 60 points. We'll try to win the boards for sure, limit turnovers, and if we can do those things, we're going to have a chance to get a good road win.
Going into UND, are there going to be any offensive or defensive changes just for the Greyhounds alone?
Well, yeah, when it comes to scouting at them, there's always something. We can tweak different things and different scenarios. Even against McKendree, one of the things that they like to do was when they fed the post, they like to rip a player from the top down and then rise a shooter on the offside. And the way we defended that was a little bit different than we would generally defend in our zone defense. Our zone would generally, any kind of skip, our wings would maybe get it. But you had to take away this rip to the basket, so we squeezed in and let our guard up top get the skip pass. It's things like that a lot of times go unnoticed when you're just watching a game. When as fans and you just want to enjoy the game. But there's so many little things, and that's why we scout. That's why we watch teams play. It's why we break down film, and we spend a lot of time doing it so we can take away strengths and then of course try to utilize ours too. How can we attack their zone? How can we get things done against them? So there'll be an in-depth scouting report in our players' hands probably by Wednesday this week, and then we certainly will be spending quite a bit of time on Indy on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday for sure. But again, a lot of what we got to do, I think, this week is get better, and we got to keep getting better, and then we got to find a way for our basketball team to beat Indianapolis and try to keep this thing going.
And for my final question of the show, USI is a top defense, one of the top defenses in the nation, really and you're still getting better, really improving throughout the year. Seems like every game feels like that USI women's basketball team is just getting better, but still not in the top 25. Do you feel like this team could possibly be one of the best in the nation?
Oh man, it's hard to tell that right now. I don't know. I haven't even seen the top 25. I don't know how anybody would know who's a top 25 team right now, because basically people are just playing teams in their league. And one of the things I know is our league's really good, and it's good every year. And so if you're winning games in our league, then you're doing some good things. We got a young bunch that's improving every single day. And obviously, to be off to a 5-0 start is really good. That feels good. But we've got ways we've got to continue to improve, or these road trips are going to not be as much fun as we're hoping. So every day is a work in progress. Again, I think our young players, our new players are really improving daily. Not just them, our whole team is. But you want to see that too, because when you get to January and February, you don't want to be talking about your freshman class anymore, because you want them to be playing like sophomores. And you certainly hope that they are by that time, because you hit that stretch run. I mean, there's no time yet to be talking, youth and things along those lines, even though we only have a couple upperclassmen. So, we've again, we're just taking it one day at a time. Polls and things like that are irrelevant, and I think they're relevant every year, but it certainly is this year. And again, I haven't even seen one. I didn't even know they were doing one. But we just got to take it one day at a time. Indianapolis is next, and boy, it certainly would be great to go into that Christmas break there, that Christmas week off undefeated, and that's our whole goal right now.
All right, Coach, I want to thank you again for joining the show, taking another 30-some minutes away. Thank you for taking time. Going up to Indianapolis, I will actually be there, so I'll actually get to see you, but socially distanced, of course.
Right.
We'll get things figured out, and again, good luck against Indianapolis.
I appreciate that. Yeah, and you know what? So glad you're going to be able to go. Obviously, our fans appreciate you, and our fans are staying in touch and in tune because of what you guys are doing. So appreciate you too. Have a great week, and we'll see you in Indy.
See you in Indy, Coach.